I strictly believe in touching the art. Art should be touched, smelt, played with, thought about. It's not a static thing. It's alive. It's alive. Roberta Smith, my hero. She would have a heart attack if she saw this. Welcome. This is my show called I Object. It has a double meaning. I object is something typically a lawyer would say if they have a complaint about something, but it's also me as an object. You want to hear something about the show? So, nothing in this exhibition is 3D printed, but every single work derives from a digital file. What I'm interested, a digital 3D file, a digital photograph, or an idea that's conceptualized and then rendered digitally. However, like I said, nothing is 3D printed. One piece is made out of clay. I call it the Chub Venus. I recently lost a lot of weight. This is a piece I made out of clay. I was going to fire it, but then I decided it was too fragile because I wanted to 3D scan it. So from this piece, which is made in a manner that could be, I modeled it after the Venus of Willendorf, which is a 25,000-year-old fertility sculpture. This is the anti-fertility sculpture because it's me as a fat person, overweight person. And then I took a picture of the process of sculpting it and had it rendered as an oil painting in China. And then I scanned the clay sculpture with the 3D scanner, made a mold, which was 3D rendered, but then made a hand-painted aluminum sculpture. So everything had a digital origin, but ultimately was made in the most traditional forms of sculpture, in bronze of Roberta Smith. The famous composer, John Sibelius, made a comment in 1937 that he doesn't care, he doesn't give a damn about criticisms of his compositions because no one had ever erected a sculpture, a statue of a critic. Well, Roberta Smith is probably the most profound art writer alive today, or among them. I revere her. She renders me speechless, if you can imagine, and instills me with fear. But she's an extraordinary, profound human being as an art writer. And now there is a statue of a critic that I've created. My work spans writing. I would call it performance. What we're doing now, as far as I'm concerned, is an artwork. I teach, I write, and I make art. I've also dealt art to make a living. Marcel Duchamp thought he would make a fortune creating children's toys. So he rented a booth, not in an art fair, but in a toy fair, and he sat there with these little toys he invented that sat on a turntable, and he thought that would be the key to his financial insecurities. Of course it wasn't, and he lost all his money, as I often do. But I don't differentiate between teaching, curating, writing. I often illustrate my articles with my own videos. I created my own platform to see my art when nobody else cared to. I've made art out of my words, out of my writing. These are two prints published by a young British printmaker called Oliver Clatworthy. There's furniture. When I had a show in Austria, in Linz recently, there's a book in production now at the Francisco Carolinum, run by the great Alfred Weidinger, who should be a sculptor as well. He's such an incredible iconoclastic museum director, curator, writer. He's an authority on Klimt and also does a body of work on photography and documentary work in Africa. But I created a classroom based on Joseph Beuys, who created the Freedom International University. Beuys said that his teaching was the greatest contribution of his artistic legacy, because he left something physical in the minds of his students. So I created seating elements. They said NFTism, which is a dumb word that used to mean like collaboration, communication, and communities of people banding together with a like mind, until NFTs became overrun with greed, cynicism, and speculation. Then I changed my tattoo to post-NFTism. But like these are cubes, which is a classical modernist form in art, and yet I turned it into the word NFTism, and it's a piece of furniture. So for me, I created a classroom in Austria, and my teaching became my performance. I gave half a dozen lectures there over the course of the show. And again, like to make a living, I'll do anything I have to afford myself the fulfillment of my life's work, which is my lifelong curiosity to learn and to discover and to share whatever it is that I learn, whether I think people want to hear it or not. It doesn't typically bother me. But so like I made art out of my teaching. I have a sale every year at Sotheby's to sell my crap. It's called the hoarder. So the hoarding is a pejorative term, which is critical of materialistic people that collect too much art. So for me, I'm materialistic because art is a material function, but at the same time, I'm very ascetic. Asceticism is a philosophical pursuit of ideas at the expense of materiality. Art is giving material form to thought, but I'm addicted to things in as much as they convey an idea, but I could live or die without my things. I just love being surrounded by art. That was really rambling on about much ado about nothing. But every single day in my house, I touch a sculpture, I smell a painting, I engage with artworks like pieces of a board game. I would say chess, but I'm not smart enough to even know how to play it. But I don't know, this is Selfie-man, which is a not so flattering depiction of myself, with impaled like Saint Sebastian with all these selfie sticks. And this piece was inspired one day when I was in Miami to see some dumb art fair. And I was walking on the beach, and everybody was on the beach, but nobody was experiencing the sand or the sea or the sky. They were experiencing it through this buffer of their telephone. And that to me is, I am addicted to my phone, firmly clenched in my hand, like most people smoke a vape. I made a piece with a baby grabbing the vape. I'm addicted to the phone like most people, but I use it to learn and as a means of communication. So really, what is art? Art is a reflection of the social, political, economic, and technological times we live in. So for me, I'm compelled to work with technology and different modes of expression through computers and fabrication, as well as using my fingers to make a clay sculpture, because it all reflects our time profoundly so. And these are the things that engage me and that make me lose sleep. I would live for my art and I would die for my art. It gives me sustenance in a way that nothing else has. It helped me through the tragedy of losing one of my kids. If it wasn't for art, I wouldn't be here boring the crap out of you, giving you this run-on sentence monologue, but this is it. I mean, I would never under any circumstances, I shouldn't even be bringing this up, but a famous civil rights activist, Malcolm X, said he would achieve equality and parity in the world for people of color at any expense. If violence was necessitated, he was willing to kill for it. And he made this comment, which just stuck in my head, by any means necessary. And even though in no way am I demeaning anything he did or said by referencing this historical activist, but this notion of any means necessary. We have one life. Life is very short. No one will ever stop me from doing what I've been put on this planet to do, which is to fulfill my creative curiosity, and art can't exist. A Van Gogh painting or a Joan Mitchell painting or a Louise Bourgeois sculpture can't exist in a vacuum in a forest. Art is completed by an audience, by sharing and communication and expression. So yes, art is a means of self-expression, but it's also a channel of communication. It's one of the few things that differentiate the species of human beings. And if there was more art in the world, we'd have less assholes destroying the planet. Take your pick of President Xi, Trump, Putin, these men that are beyond their years, that are grabbing on to power, making a fool of themselves and causing untold misfortune, bloodshed, and yeah, subjugation of peoples. It's tragic. If there was more art, more compassion, more generosity of spirit, we would be in a lot better place. And art is one of the few things in the world that could do that, besides a nice pet or child. And with that, I bid you adieu. Happy for you to look around some more or for me to show you, but this is it. This is what gives me joy. I don't do this for money. I don't have an audience in Los Angeles. I used to hate Los Angeles until I got here 2 weeks ago. I'm not a movie person. I like documentaries. I was always fat, skinny, like what this sculpture is about. Hollywood wasn't going to do it for me. It held no sway, no attraction, until I've recently come back in a more self-actualized position of coming back on my terms, and it's art that took me here, and it's been a revelation. The city of Los Angeles, the people I've met, it's this spirit that really moves me, touches me, and inspires me so profoundly. To this day, nothing has changed over 35 years of my enthusiasm for what I do, the people I've met, and the experiences I've had. I'm very, very, very fortunate and grateful. Life is short, and I pursue my interests in an extreme fashion. Now I'm really finished.